Yeah, my name is Ted Saucedo, and I'm doing a presentation today on juvenile delinquency. It's my human growth class, and I'd just like to say a few things about this, okay? Yeah, what is juvenile delinquency? Juvenile delinquency has been long associated with drug use, truancy, and gang membership. The Journal of Child Psychology and Psychiatrists, and the Journal of Youth and Adolescents report there's a high correlation between the behavior of youth and the behavior of their friends and parents that can lead to membership in gangs. Some of the factors that may influence juvenile delinquency include parental conflict over child rearing practices, unrealistic demands followed by harsh punishments, low parental attachments or rejection, excessive family conflict, and failure to set rules and to abide by the rules and penalties. Some of the changes in the family structure create instability that disrupts the family unit. These changes create fear in adolescents, leading them to seek support from their peers. The influence of peers at this important time in the life of an adolescent is great. Research also shows drugs abuse is highly correlated to the behavior of best friends, especially when parental supervision is not there. Youth looking for guidance share their feelings with their friends, which creates a sense of intimacy and trust. Youth who take drugs or do poorly in school have a high dropout rate and oftentimes maintain their drug abuse after they leave school. Youth who abuse drugs are viewed as emotionally disturbed and maladjusted. Their inability to hold jobs and adjust to society's expectations create additional social problems. These factors may contribute to alcoholism or lead to narcotic abuse. And although these studies provide us with a view into the various factors that contribute to juvenile delinquency, there is no conclusive evidence that any one factor is responsible for delinquency. The data we have available to use today must continue to be investigated before empirical evidence can be presented defining a specific cause as a culprit. Next is the brain development. The latest court findings that are a series of cases at which the court has looked carefully of children under 18 who are accused of serious crimes. Any parent knows that children have difficult times of a judgment than adults do, and the courts are taking this into account. It is about the Supreme Court's decision and the science behind the thinking and decision. The courts have said, looking at science, brains develop differently, and brain development isn't complete until you're in your 20s. When people are in their 14 and 15, they don't have the maturity and judgment and the self-control as adults. And if they were eligible for the death penalty, this is some of the things that they contribute to this. In one case, a juvenile was and didn't actually kill the victim, but was a part of a group that robbed a store and somebody else fired the shot that killed the victim. The next issue in that court will be to consider if each case has to be revisited and if this will lead to a death sentence. Peer pressure is one of the culprits that are involved with this kind of doings. And next we talk about alcohol in teens. Alcohol binge drinking, which in teens is a critical period for brain development and it can impact the brain's growth and having an infection and towards the teen's behavior. There's a study by Professor Fulton Cruz of pharmaceutical at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill School of Medicine, has said that the latest finding in his lab mice has several but persistent alterations in the brain frontal cortex that affect decision making and related to behaviors in human adults, which can also start in juveniles. Also, Crew's research explored mechanisms of characteristics and functional consequences of binge drinking on the brain. Some changes associated with adolescent alcohol binge drinking on MRI revealed smaller for brain volume and size in adult males. Another part of violence in teens is the bullying, which was a part of juvenile delinquency and has to do with the school bullying and their victims. They both share the same thing in common: abusing alcohol after being bullied or being the bully. This data was collected by the Coalition for a Drug-Free Center Cincinnati as part of a Pride survey on adolescent drug use in America. 38% of the students involved in school violence was associated with increased odds of recent alcohol use and heavy drinking among males and females from 7th to 12th grades. Alcohol abuse may be a way to escape problems and self-medicate. The childhood trauma has also effects of violence and neglect. Neuroscientists and psychologists now believe that childhood trauma, including violence and neglect, sears into the brain in ways that can have devastating effects later. The chemical messenger serotonin, best known for its job in regulating mood swings, also seems to have a aspect in people who commit suicide in teenagers are thought to have dampened serotonin signaling. Evidence now suggests that in some cases that something originates in traumatic early life experience. The thread leading from a rough upbringing to suicide is quite strong. Another form of alcohol abuse is fetal alcohol syndrome. It's known as FAS, and it contributes to most children that are born with fetal alcohol syndrome show signs of abnormal intellectual or behavior development. Being foster parents and growing up a foster parent for the Navajo Nation, I adopted 3 boys, and 2 of them were born with alcohol FAS, is what it is known. Through their teen years, they did show signs of aggression and behavior problems, and both got in trouble with the law, which brings to showing that trouble does happen in the teen years between people and youth with this kind of syndrome. One grew up and now is doing great in Vermont, and my other one is still abusing alcohol, and their parents have died from alcohol abuse. One was in a train accident which killed her, and the other one died of liver problems. So there is a great expectation for FAS in alcoholism. And I'd like to just thank you for this presentation and a chance to do this on human growth. This was the first time I've ever done something like this, and I just like to thank the teachers for allowing us to do it. And these are some of the references that I have found to be helpful and where I found my readings. And I just want to thank you.